Hey people, we're talking about fighting the good fight using the greatest weapon of all, which is the weapon of love. Recognizing that Jesus sets the pace. He was the one who epitomized love on our behalf, and he gave completely, absolutely, and sacrificially. We need to do the same. But there's one more weapon that we have in our war against the world. You know, in the Lord's Prayer, we pray, "Thy kingdom come, Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." When we pray that, we're declaring that there is another kingdom, and it's the kingdom of darkness. And I need to say this, that good deeds are great, but if they're not backed with the power of prayer, then we may be missing a great aspect of what the weaponry that we have. I just think of that fight that Moses had against the Amalekites in the wilderness. Do you remember that? Came up against the Amalekites, this marauding army, hundreds of thousands of them. And all he had was a bunch of people, peasants mainly, who maybe had a few little sticks and knobkerries amongst them. And they had to fight this army, and they looked like they were in for a hiding. And God said, "Don't fear them. Moses, get up on the hill. Take Aaron and Hur with you, and go up there and do again another counterintuitive thing. That is to pray." That means get out of the action, get out of the fight. I need you three men up on the mountain to pray for the enemy and to pray for the victory. And Moses went up the mountain. He left Joshua down in the valley with his people to fight the battle. And you know the story well, I'm sure. They went up the mountain, and Aaron and Hur held up Moses' hands, because he began to notice that every time his hands were raised, that the people would win the battle. And as soon as he was tired and his hands came down, he made the connection between the raised hands and the lowered hands. Whenever they were raised, they would win. Whenever they were lowered, they would start to lose. And from the top of the mountain, he could see the power of the raised hands. He could see the power that they came through prayer. Now, he wasn't fighting the battle in the field. He was fighting it at the place of prayer. Now, I believe, people, that there are those in our midst who are called to pray. I know we all say prayers, but there are a group of people in our church and in our communities and amongst us who are specifically called out of the battlefront to specifically spend time praying. Maybe, could it be, that you might be one of those? They're generally a small group of people. We call them intercessors. And their calling is not to be in the battle, not to be in the fight, but to fight the battle on the hill. Without these people, I don't think we stand a chance. The battle is fought in the valley, but we all know that it is won on the mountain. And if you are called to that, I don't know who I'm talking to today, but if you're called to that, then take this calling very seriously. Take the calling to pray for those who are in the battle. Pray for those. You know, I sometimes think that this might be one of the greatest roles of our senior citizens. Don't get grumpy. Don't get miserable that you're not in the fight anymore. Maybe your health is not good. Maybe your age is getting to you. Now's your time to take on the most meaningful place ever. Go and pray for those people. I remember a man that was in our church, and many of you will remember Uncle Nels, and he used to have a board up in his house with all the pictures of our staff on it. And he would every day, he would take that and he would sit in front of that board and he would pray. He worked hard in the field, but his greatest asset was not his gift to building and all that, although that was substantial. I believe his greatest contribution to the kingdom, he was a man of prayer. And he didn't just pray prayers, he really prayed. And I knew he was praying for me and for Helene and for our kids and for the church by name. Man, I loved that man. Loved what he did. Loved the power of his prayers as they've been evidenced now. And it's wonderful to have people in our church and our eldership and people in the congregation who really take this seriously. If you're one of them, maybe this is your greatest calling yet, is just to get in the closet, close the door, and start to pray. Pray without ceasing, pray with passion, pray with faith, believing that God can bring the victory to those who fight in the field. Take this seriously, people. I think it's an awesome privilege to be in that place. Maybe you're one of them. Let's hope it and see it. Cheers, guys. Have a good day. Bye.